This is Glenn Andrews, Heroes and Kings, Glenn's Word, Morehouse Man, MBA, Six Sigma, husband, father, author, podcaster, personal trainer, mentor, activist, coach. At 61, just had my 61st birthday, and observing the world, observing politics, observing the economy. I sometimes wonder, is it worth even speaking up sometimes? Because I do speak up for myself, always going to defend my 10 toes and standing on anything I say. But coming out of the pandemic, I've observed a lot of podcasts and shows and platforms, and wondering if speaking and presenting content serves a purpose in the Black community specifically. I'm concerned not so much for my well-being, my wife's well-being, and even my parents' well-being. I'm more concerned for my kids. I'm more concerned for my friends' kids. I'm concerned for the young ones that's coming along, because the programming and the propaganda from my generation came from TV, news, movies, subliminal and sometimes direct. And now in the generations coming along, it's been the internet, social media, uh, robots, artificial intelligence, and we expect common sense, logic, and a perspective to understand what all of this mean. But as we look around and observe, it's easy to wave the hypnotist clock in front of people and get them to believe anything. I've always been a book reader. Back in the day, the encyclopedia salesman, for those who don't know, there used to be salesmen who would go door to door selling the Encyclopedia Britannica. And in 1971 to 1972, my parents bought the Encyclopedia Britannica, and it had this other little uh, learning tool called the Cyclo Teacher. And me and my brother, who was a year and a half younger than I am, about 2 years younger than I am, have always been reader. One of the things adamant, particularly with my mom, not so much my dad. My dad was about work ethic and getting up and being manly, which is a fantastic thing. But with my mom, her primary focus with us was being disciplined, being clean, being responsible. But education played a key role. So when they bought that encyclopedia, me and my brother would just sit and read, and we would grab, it was in alphabetical order. You can grab A, you can grab B, you can grab Z, you can grab C, you can grab any of the 26 letters of the alphabet and just start your reading. And that was the beginning of my foundation and observation of this world. And so at 6, 7, 8 years old, reading encyclopedia, then later on, comic books, love Marvel comics. And at the same time, you have your television shows and watching the news and understanding who Walter Cronkite is, understanding Harry Reesner and watching the news, watching the things that's going on in the world, watching what took place during the Olympics in 1972, understanding what took place in 1968 and earlier with the Civil Rights Movement with Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, understanding the riots that took place in the 60s. And then, even as you come into the 70s and 80s, Iran Contra, Oliver North, Ronald Reagan, uh, COINTELPRO, Kerner Commission Report, the assassination of President Kennedy. And I'm just observing and watching all these news events as a young African American kid in San Diego, California, Logan Heights, 92113. In our little area, our dream for most was baseball and football, sports, particularly the young brothers, young black men. All of us had that dream for football and baseball. Now looking at it and looking back at it, I realized that dream was not our dream. And I'll tell you why. Because I ended up going to Claremont and then end up being bused to Claremont, which easily could have went to Lincoln High, which Lincoln High is famous for having Marcus Allen, Damon Allen, Terrell Davis, several professional athletes, my friends, Leland Maddox, Kevin Mitchell, Sam Horn. Then the other school in our area close by in Skyline was Morse High. But the thing that resonates with me is coming out of Logan Heights and reading all that I've read and understanding this world. Once I got out of high school, got hurt playing ball and playing football and baseball, and had decided to do something else, I realized the dream of sports is not our dream. That's the American herd or directive to point black men towards sports versus intellectual pursuits. Most brothers end up using sports to launch pad into other areas, but if you're an African American boy and you show your intellect while you're in sports, they kind of shade you away from that. So end up going to junior college, end up going to ECC, and one of my mentors was Dr. Carol Wayman. And he said, young man, you're either going to be part of the problem or part of the solution. Dr. Carol Wayman was Nina Simone's brother. And that always stuck with me as I decided it was time for me to transfer to undergraduate institution. And I applied to many and accepted to all. But when Morehouse came through, my decision was to come to Morehouse. At Morehouse, I met my then wife, Rena, and she was a blind date. And one of the things she told me was Cape Verdean, and I had never heard of this. Here I am, 25, 26, junior college transfer at Morehouse College, majoring in economics, and with everything I have ever read, and I had read about the Cape Verde Islands, I had never heard about the Cape Verdean community in northeastern Mass, and those who have left northeastern Massachusetts, Connecticut, living all throughout the world. And meeting her, going to Morehouse, meeting her changed the direction of my life. So what you have seen in all these photos are my son and daughter. My family, my mom and dad, my uncles, my aunts, they came through Jim Crow south of Oklahoma and Alabama. My dad has a military background, and the focus has always been education. The sadness of me, or the disappointment right now, is that education is in contradiction to programming. And this last little frame that you see is a book that I wrote, GAM Chronicles, Grown Ass Man Chronicles. And it establishes my perspective as a single man growing up in Southern California, going to Morehouse, and my observations and perspective. Don't smoke, don't drink, work out every day, try to do the right thing, try to maintain a standard. And it's kind of scary because, or kind of perplexing because we're living in a world where people want you to move away from a standard. And what I'm trying to convey to my kids and other individuals is you have to set your own standard, not what someone else wants for you, but what you want for yourself. And if you refuse or deny yourself or don't even take the chance to control your life without sacrifice, but more than anything, you make the decision in the direction of your life and maintaining a standard. Something as easy as getting up early in the morning, and when you turn around, whatever you're sleeping on, you clean up that area, you organize that area. That's the beginning of a standard that if you get the blessing of waking up, that's that extra opportunity to make a difference in your own life and quite possibly make a difference in somebody else's life. And I'll say this and I'll close on this, and we'll tap into this in the future. I see a lot of games and a lot of manipulation played with the idea of the vibration and frequency because individuals be on a lot of different platforms using those two terms, not understanding that you can get in front of a camera and be on somebody's platform or be in front of a TV screen and a bunch of folks be looking at you and you throw out the words vibration and frequency and how you move. But if you moving or saying one thing on a platform and doing something else behind the scenes, there's a yin and yang about this world. And I'll leave it at that. I have no separation between personal and professional. No separation between professional and personal. My words is my actions is my words. And at any time, you can pop up, go do the research on or Google who Glenn D. Andrews is, and my enemies can speak for me. So we'll leave it there. This is Glenn Andrews. Until next time, we're going to continue this discussion. Stand on your 10, maintain your standard. Husband, father, next level.